Alright, timestamp. It is. Whenever I make that click, I know that my ring is turned a little bit. It is April 3rd, 2026 at 1 a.m. I didn't make a recording technically today. Got up at like noon, went to bed at 3, a little bit after 3 a.m. Slept pretty hard. It was nice though. Feel pretty good. I've had little bitty panic attacks all day, I'm sure it's just everything that's going on and a little bit of fallout from the visit with my dad. Still digesting that just because, yeah, it was a lot. Went to bed with Robots of Death on. Woke up with Deadly Assassin, and the Deadly Assassin was running again. I'm not making this up. That's not normally an episode that they run over and over, but it's like I'm having like 80s, early days of cable flashback kind of thing going on here, where like, HBO will run the same movie like 5 times a day, different time brackets, like a movie theater almost. Because that's the way it was back in those days. They'd get in like 5 new movies every month, and you'd be expecting to see that every day, at least once or twice. True story. And certain movies would only play like Friday and Saturday nights at 2 a.m. And if you're a teenage guy, you know to be watching for that. That's why the sci-fi movie Life Force did so well. We've talked about this. Nothing quite like a naked vampire hottie walking around in an unclothed way for most of the picture. Ratings are really good for that. People really like this sci-fi movie. Yeah. That. It is the stunning plot and effects that we're all engrossed with. Can't believe it didn't win more awards. Got one of those. Should be a baby beast. Yeah. Baby beast. These are that Imaginext Scooby-Doo. Not getting the Imaginext exactly, but the Beast of Bottomless Lake. The Imaginext figure they did for it. People online are calling him the Baby Beast. Because he's so cute. I've got like, I think this is probably number 7 or number 8. I wanted to get like a small horde of them. Because for diorama and army building kind of standpoints, this is ASMR. Yeah. Need a power tool to get him out. I call it Jaws of Life. Gotta get this door open. Yay. Come on. That's adorable. Part of me wonders if this is the kind of thing my mom was seeing. She's talking about the fish people. So you saw a grown-up version of that. Yeah. I mean, that could be some nightmare fuel if you had the grown-up version of that. But they're so cute. Got a little bit of paint action going on there, but that's not a big deal. Because I could even touch it up with some kind of a on the fin tips and whatnot. Touch that up with either a green or even go crazy and do like a yellow or an orange up there just to give it a little bit of like popping contrast. And if I've got others that are like that, I could do that with a couple of them, whatnot, to give it, because not typically not all critters look exactly the same, even if they're the same creature. So give it a little bit of variation that way. That could be fun. Hello, handsome. So yeah. You need to be cleaned a little bit. Overall, though, I'm pretty happy. Got it for like $7. It was an auction that went for $1.99, and I was pretty sure I was going to get competition on it. $5 shipping. And nobody else bid, which surprised me quite a bit because people usually grab these up. So I was happy about that, just because you mean I got it and I didn't have to fight. I was willing to go to $10. That's kind of my limit. And I got it for $7, so okay. Deal. Add him to the horde. Not the horde, we're working on the hoarding, but my horde of that, you get what I mean. Didn't do a whole lot around the house today, a little bit here and there. Mostly working on the little piles of stuff, kitchen, dining room, trying to make our living area a little bit less cray-cray. Most of this we've done to ourselves. This isn't actually my parents', with the exception of the fact that it is us attempting to make order for our world while working around the chaos that they have here. Didn't work outside on the lanai at all because it rained. It rained and it rained. That's okay. That just let me know, okay, get stuff done inside. Got it. Got dishes going. I got laundry in the dryer. Been doing some scrubbing here and there and stopping things, and yeah. The stacks and boxes are just appearing on the inside. Exactly. So there is progress. It's never fast enough. Tiny and I were talking about that earlier today, that we look around and we're like wanting to be done with the major projects within a year and a half, and we're like, I don't know if we're going to hit that. But right now we're in the grindy trudging part, where it's a matter of picking up all the debris, throwing away the garbage, salvaging what can be salvaged, cleaning it if it's something that's worthwhile to be cleaned, and then putting it in a box, labeling it. Acorn, move. Oh, I have a feeling that was Kaiser making a mess for me over here. Oh, dear God in heaven. Oh, God. Yep. Thanks, buddy. Oh. He's like 14, 15 years old. At this point, we're not sure if he's intentionally hitting the tile over there instead of litter robot, or if he, like many old men, is running to the bathroom, doesn't make it in time, and makes a deposit wherever he made a deposit. Not sure, but that was vile, sir. I almost stepped in it. That's the problem with brown floors, because my parents' house is brown on brown with brown trim. so you don't always see it coming. Oh my God. It's really... We'll go with pungent. Y'all heard that too, I'm sure. That weird little, almost shotgun blast sounding. Man, that travels. Oof. You're an evil cat, you know that? So coffee-wise, what are we doing? I forget. It's the Starbucks. Using one of the big bags we had up here. It's good stuff, but I hadn't actually broken it out. Oh, it's the medium breakfast blend. Bighorn, you want to actually move a little bit? There you go. Left, left, right, right. Thanks. Kids. Just smell the coffee. Smell the coffee. I know where we're feeding him. I don't know. I'm supposed to have a call with somebody else from the investment place tomorrow at noon, just to go over some of the questions that I have. One of the main ones being, what can I do as the guardian, fiduciary, all that? What am I allowed to do? I'm not trying to extract or anything like that, just they've got some funds that aren't actually, they're just cash funds, and it's like, I'm sure it's probably dividends that my mom made, because my mom was pretty shrewd on that stuff. I'm willing to bet it's just stuff she didn't reinvest, and it's just sitting there, not really, it's not working. You know, when you have money in an investment account, you want it to be working for you, not just hanging out, man. And right now it's just hanging out. Had some Cheetos earlier. There's a game on, you know. There are some ETFs and stocks that I'd like to go do this, you know. Does the economy suck right now? Oh, yes, it does. Stock market, not necessarily doing bad. So when the big orange guy says, no, the economy's great, he's talking about people that he knows. You know, Wall Street investors and whatnot. They're doing fine. My parents, they've got money in a stock portfolio. It's gotten bigger over the past year or two. You know? It has. That's just fact. Money in other places? Not so much. Oh. So, mostly done with these guys. Can kind of, I don't know if you can see. Yeah, there we go. Kind of, yeah, there we go. The gloss. So I did do a little bit of touch up top. There was like little bits of blue here and there, or specks that popped up there. So I'm going to do a clear coat, because I didn't actually go around the edge, because I didn't want to interfere with the blue or the orange, if you follow me on that. And I'm going to go over the top real briefly to make sure that any spots that I touched up get an actual poly coat going on. I can see a couple little ticks here and there where I applied some additional paint on top, so I need to like recoat it. Nothing drastic. And then these will actually be ready for the lounge, which I got to get in there, and because I've been just kind of putting stuff in that part of the cabinet that I know that I'm going to want in there in some way, shape, or form, and I need to actually start quote the song from Kiss the Spider Woman, I need to start dressing them up. That'd be a fun show to do. Very odd story, but very, very cool. And I saw that they did a film version of the musical, because it was just a regular movie with, I think it was Raul Julia, William Hurt, I believe, which at least from the standpoint of, gosh, I wish we had now what we had then. It would have been neat if they'd done the musical version of it then, because I'm not saying the one that's out right now sucks. I haven't seen it. I don't know. But, you know, anytime you can get Raul Julia to sing, it's a good day. But he's gone now, so he doesn't sing so much anymore. Bit of a Raul Julia fan here, in case you hadn't figured that out. Especially his Gomez. So good. Mind you, with Wednesday, I'm still very satisfied with Luis Guzman. When I heard they cast him, I wasn't sure what I was going to think of it. Just because when I think of, like, suave, I don't think Luis Guzman. Because he's an unusual looking man. But seeing what they did, they were going more with the actual comic strip version, which, yeah. And he's certainly got the creepy, weird side of Gomez down, the way they've written it in the script. Yeah. I'm down with it. But yeah, initially I was like, no, I'm not seeing that at all. I'm not sure what you have in mind there. You know, you got Tim Burton at the helm, so I'll give you that minute to see what you have in mind, because you don't typically produce crap. So, well, what are you doing here? You know? Yeah, like there you can see, especially if I can get the light to hit it just right. I'm not sure if that's working or not. So I did this entire patch, redid it with paint. Yeah, you can kind of see it there. Because there were like little blue splotches here and there, and I'm like, nope. Let's not seal that. Let's paint over that and then seal on top of it. Which is exactly what I did. So, yes, and a little bit over here too. Now I need to get the edge. Kaiser, you're evil. Janus, don't be nice to him right now. There is no other way to put it. Terrible things come out of his butthole. And I mean, terrible things come out of, all of our buttholes, really. But, you ever had that friend? Who uses the bathroom in your apartment and you're like, oh boy. I may not even want to go in there until tomorrow. That friend? Yeah. That's this guy. Oh, he ate a bunch of cheese before he got here? Oh, for God's sake. Do we need to notify the CDC, or are we good? You know, that friend? Yeah. Walk in the bathroom 5 hours later. Oh, oh. How is it still here? Hey, Kaiser, how's it going, buddy? So I'm going to take some paper towels with me in there in a few minutes. Possibly some holy water. Can't rule it out as far as plan of action is concerned. Might be needed. Don't know. I'm going to be going to bed here pretty soon. I want to make sure that I'm up again to take that phone call at noon. Because I don't want that to happen. Yeah, these tables are going to be ready to go. Went to Dollar Tree the other day with my girl and picked up 5 large sheets of foam board, which is going to be great for creating walls. So I've got the construction paper that I was working with a little bit, but it's just not real sturdy. The trick is going to be, and this isn't like a hard trick, measuring the walls and then cutting the foam board into panels, basically. But it's thick enough to where, especially if I've got a furniture piece or something against it, that'll probably hold it up at a 90. It's already fairly thick enough to where the flat surface, you know, if I'm putting stuff on it, like paintings and things of that nature, which this will all make sense. Like I've got posters for my library wall. That may add weight and make it want to fall, but if I've got stuff up against it, that'll pin it to the wall. The actual curio cabinet, hutch, I'm not sure what you call it. Probably a lot of things you can call it. Yes. Work it. Okay. Pretty good. I think the next thing I work on... Oh, okay. I was trying to put the bottle down. I'm like, why? What resistance? Somebody knocked my candlestick over. Queenie, looking at you. She keeps getting up on the other side of the bar and sprawling. And then she hears me coming in quickly, jumps down, jumps over to the stool across the room. It's funny because she did that yesterday and I came in the room. I saw her jump from somewhere. I saw her land on the floor and then up to the stool. But I didn't see where she came from, just where she was going kind of thing. But the corner of the bar was still warm. The whole time she's kind of crouched on the stool, laying, kind of looking at me like, oh, you're on to me, aren't you? You didn't see me, though. You didn't see me. You can't prove anything. I put my hand on the bar and I'm like, mm-hmm. She got a little lower. They know. Don't get up here. In the words of Tony Stark, don't touch my stuff. Words to live by right there. Don't touch my stuff. here somewhere. Hi, Kaiser. How you doing? My beans are drying over here. Soaked them. Oh, I found one of the things I found around here. I found some toys that I had when I was a kid, like 5, 6. Hi. Ow. My cat decided to claw at my leg. Appreciate that. Thanks, buddy. Yeah, you'll do. Yeah. Okay, I'm just trying to go back to my. I just want. Excuse me, sir. Sir, excuse me. I got a whole bunch of these. I'll show you what I'm talking about. Some of them, because these are actually mine. They were mine when I was a kid. Found them around here in a box. I'm like, this was mine. Of course. So at some point, my parents captured some of my old toys and boxed them up for 50 years. I was wondering where some of this. I have found a few things, and I'm like, I wondered what happened to that. Found it. So, yeah. It's just kind of that weird stuff you had when you were a kid, you know. This is Buchanan. You can see that. The paint has issues, admittedly. You can see it's labeled Buchanan on the front, the back of it. It's got some more writing. I'll read it off to you. It says 15th, and then underneath that, 1857 to 61. This is, and I've talked about Marx before, M-A-R-X. They're pretty much the ones that put, like, army men, the little green army men. They're pretty much the ones that made them a household toy. Plastics manufacturer from years gone by. 60s, 70s. And they did a lot of stuff. These are from the 60s, I want to say. Made in Hong Kong, Marx Toys. Everywhere I've looked, these said, the various sites have said these were from the 60s to the 70s. So, and there's a Richard Nixon over there. So, I mean, that kind of narrows it down. It's not a Gerald Ford. That really narrows it down. Now that I think about it, because I looked at them all. I'm going to keep a few of my favorites. Keeping both my Roosevelts, Washington, Lincoln, John Adams. There's not a Gerald Ford. That definitely narrows it down. Right? Nixon left in, 72? 72, 73? I was a toddler, so I wasn't watching C-SPAN yet, you know. C-SPAN wasn't a thing then. That was Trap. Yeah. Yeah, but I mean, I had these when I was I remember playing with these things when I was 4, 5, 6. It's actually how I learned some early president stuff, believe it or not. Goofy, right? But, yeah, no, these are worth some money. Not I'm not buying an island or anything like that, but they're, not a real common thing to find. So, I looked at eBay. There's a bunch listed, but, not nearly as much as some other toys that you could think of that just came out last year, where there's 3,000 listings. There was, 100. And everybody's got different stuff, so probably make a little bit of money on it. Yeah, it was just weird. Came across a little plastic box with these in it. I was like, holy shit! I remember these. These are mine. What the hell? But yeah, I'm gonna keep their 2 inches, 2.5 inches. You can see underneath they've got the. Typically, Marks did like a round, like Maker's Mark with Marks toys in there somewhere. Marks Plastics. Um, if you are this tall, you can ride. So, what is that? 2.5? Yeah, 2 3/4. Almost 3 inches. But like my ring holder, my Jiminy Cricket, that's a Mark's Toys. And again, it's got one round thing here. This is Walt Disney Productions. And then this foot has the Mark's Toys. What are you, 75? Ooh, 71. You're old. But yeah, Jiminy holds my rings and hairbands and stuff like that for me. But yeah, not sure what I'm going to do with the ones that I'm saving, but they might be really interesting if I'm doing like a museum piece, like a museum diorama. To actually have like, I'll have to repaint them because they're pretty rough. They look about as good as that. But yeah. So I've got a Washington, an Adams. I'm not sure if I kept Jefferson or not. I kept Lincoln, and I'm a big Roosevelt fan, Teddy and FD. It was a thought question I had with my kids when we were homeschooling, and it came up because the orange guy, when you become president, you basically redo the Oval Office the way you want it done, and you can make it look like a tacky palace with gold everywhere if you so choose. Typically, you have wall space. I want to say the recommendation or the norm is you pick 5 presidential portraits and you put up, you have those 5 presidents put in the Oval Office. And there were a couple, like Andrew Jackson, ones that, he thought were a swell idea, that it's like, some of the stuff he did wasn't quite as heroic as you think it was, but you're coming at it from a different, more racist point of view. So I get it, I guess. You get me. But I posed that question to my pups was, what 5 presidents would you have on your wall and why? And it became like a family, thought question. And for me, it would have been Washington, John Adams, Lincoln, and both Roosevelts. So FDR did a lot of really amazing socialist things, stuff that we use today that you don't even realize, that were incredibly good for the people, which is why he got elected, 3 times, and they finally made a rule, because, stop that, Teddy went up against big business and broke up he's where a lot of the antitrust and anti-monopoly stuff started, because big business was starting to basically start making the rules, and little people were getting squashed, labor unions were getting squashed. Sound familiar? And Teddy, who, nice name, people were scared of him, walked in there with his big stick and said, no, absolutely not. I got mad respect for that. We could use a champion like that. We don't have one, but we could use one. Nope, we're going to protect people that shouldn't get protected, and maybe help Israel bomb a bunch of people. Yeah, That'll be good. That day of reckoning, it's coming, I'm sure. Any second now. I'm a little biased on this one. I'm not going to pay you $8 for a cup of coffee, but I'll buy the bags when they're on sale. Because they do make a good coffee. I'll give them that. Oh, yeah. Also, stop busting up the union attempts, because not cool. They're trying to protect themselves from people like you, and you're proving their point. Just saying. Again, we could use a teddy. I got my baby bees. I love these things. I need to add up how many I have, though, because I think I'm probably good. Discontinue the search. Don't worry about looking for them anymore. I'm probably good, but I need to verify how many I have, because I'm kind of looking at 7, 8. If I have more than that, okay, great, definitely pull a plug on it. But if I've got like 8 of them, we're good. You know what I mean? I don't actually need like 30, but I did want to have like more than 5, so I can really populate a scene. They're fabulous looking. And if you don't know it's a like Scooby-Doo figure for little kids, you're probably not going to know where it came from. Like, not really genre-wise, because you're going to know it's some kind of sci-fi horror something, but you may not know what franchise. That's probably the word I should use. What franchise is from? What IP is it from? You look good. I could even have a bunch of them terrorizing my library. On top of the bookcases, throwing books. Other people, running out of the room, kind of thing. I know I'm not well. I'm aware of that. Don't judge. Exactly. So I'm going to go ahead and call it here. And I'm going to start getting ready for bed. I'm going to hit the hallway there with a flamethrower, see if I can dispel the evil creature that came out of Kaiser's ass. Just evil. The power of... So, hug your parents. Hug your kids. Make them clean up after their cats. My cats don't do that. Actually, Janus does get creative, but I clean up after Janus. Don't I? Okay, he's being psychotic under my feet right now. I don't know. I'm not going to ask him. I'm just going to keep looking this way. I don't know. What I do know is you can make it a great day.